I wasn't planning to change my life that morning. I was just planning to leave it behind. The sun was barely rising when I rolled my suitcase down the cracked sidewalk toward the bus stop at the edge of town. Everything I owned was packed inside that one worn-out bag. I told myself I wouldn't look back. There was nothing left for me here anyway. But then I saw her, standing by the old iron gate across the street. She looked small, almost fragile, her gray sweater hanging loosely from her shoulders. And when our eyes met, she whispered words I will never forget. "If you go," she said softly, "promise you won't look back." Before we dive into this story, if you believe kindness still matters in this world, take a second to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome to Your Channel Name, where we tell stories that warm your heart and remind you what truly matters. Now let me tell you what happened that morning, and how one quiet act of kindness changed everything. I grew up in a small town in Ohio where everybody knew your name and your business. It was the kind of place where Friday night football was the biggest event of the week and the diner served the same pie recipe for 40 years. On the outside, it looked peaceful. But inside my home, things were anything but. After my dad passed away when I was 16, my mom worked double shifts at the hospital to keep us afloat. I tried to help, picking up odd jobs, mowing lawns, bagging groceries, shoveling snow in winter. But no matter how hard we worked, it always felt like we were just barely keeping our heads above water. By the time I turned 24, I was tired. Tired of watching my mom struggle. Tired of feeling stuck. When a warehouse job opened up in Texas with better pay and a chance to start over, I took it. I told myself leaving was the responsible thing to do. I'd send money home. I'd build something better. That was the plan. The morning I left, my mom had already gone to work. She didn't want to cry in front of me, and I didn't want to see her do it. So we hugged the night before, both pretending we were stronger than we felt. As I reached the end of our street that morning, that's when I saw her. Mrs. Harper lived 3 houses down from us. She must have been close to 80, always sitting on her porch with a cup of tea, waving at everyone who passed by. After her husband died years ago, she never remarried. She didn't have kids. Just a small white house, a tidy garden, and a heart that seemed too big for one person. She was standing by her gate, leaning on her cane. "I heard you were leaving," she said. I forced a smile. "Yeah, ma'am. Got a job in Texas." "That's far," she said, looking at me in a way that felt deeper than words. "It's time," I replied. "Time for something new." She nodded slowly, then stepped closer. The morning air was cool, and I could see her breath as she spoke. "If you go," she whispered, "promise you won't look back." I frowned. Why would I look back? "Because sometimes," she said, her voice trembling, "we leave things unfinished. And when we look back, it hurts too much." I didn't understand what she meant. Not then. She reached into her sweater pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "For the road," she said. I tried to refuse, but she insisted. "Open it later." I hugged her gently, surprised at how light she felt. "I'll call you when I get settled," I promised. She smiled. "Just be kind wherever you go. That's all I ask." I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. The bus ride felt longer than it was. I kept replaying her words in my head. When we stopped at a gas station halfway through the trip, I finally opened the envelope. Inside was $50 and a handwritten note. It read, "Dear Michael, I know what it feels like to lose someone and feel alone in a house full of memories. After my husband died, I didn't think I'd survive the silence. But your family brought light back to my porch. Your mother's laughter. Your kindness when you shoveled my driveway without being asked. The way you fixed my mailbox after that storm. You never knew it, but you gave me reasons to keep going. If you must leave, leave knowing you mattered here. Love, Mrs. Harper. I stared at the paper, my vision blurring. I remembered that winter storm 3 years earlier. She had been stuck inside for days. I cleared her driveway without thinking twice. I fixed her mailbox because it was hanging by one screw. I never saw it as anything special. It was just neighborly. But to her, it meant something. When I arrived in Texas, everything felt bigger and louder. The job paid well, just like they promised. I worked long hours, loading trucks and managing inventory. The money started coming in. I sent most of it home. But at night, when I lay in my tiny apartment, I felt something I hadn't expected. Loneliness. There were no familiar faces. No small-town waves. No Mrs. Harper on her porch. One evening after work, I saw a young woman sitting outside the apartment building. She was crying quietly, her phone in her hand. Most people walked past her. I almost did too. But then I remembered the note. I sat down a few feet away. "You okay?" I asked. She wiped her eyes. "I just moved here," she said. "I don't know anyone. I thought I was ready, but I'm not." Her words felt familiar. We talked for almost an hour. Her name was Elena. She had come from Arizona for nursing school but was already doubting herself. Before we parted, I told her, "It's okay to feel scared. Just don't feel alone. There are good people here. I promise." Over the next few weeks, we'd run into each other in the hallway or the laundry room. I'd help her carry groceries. She'd bring me leftover cookies from her study group. Slowly, that building started to feel less empty. And I realized something. Kindness travels. The small things I did for Mrs. Harper, things I barely remembered, had given her hope. Her note had given me strength. And now, without even trying, I was passing that strength on. A few months later, I got a call from my mom. Mrs. Harper had passed away peacefully in her sleep. The news hit me harder than I expected. I hadn't looked back when I left. I thought that was strength. But now I wished I had. I flew home for the funeral. The town looked smaller than I remembered. The same diner. The same football field. The same quiet streets. As I stood by her grave, I finally understood her words. "Promise you won't look back." She didn't mean forget us. She meant don't live with regret. Don't let guilt chain you to what was. Move forward with love, not with longing. After the service, my mom handed me another envelope. "She left this for you," she said. Inside was a photo of me, maybe 17 years old, standing in her driveway with a snow shovel. On the back, she had written, "Kindness is never wasted. It grows in places you may never see." I kept that photo. When I returned to Texas, I started volunteering on weekends at a local food pantry. Not because I had extra time. Not because I needed recognition. But because I understood now, every small act matters. Years later, Elena graduated nursing school. She told me once that if I hadn't sat down beside her that first night, she might have gone back home. "You reminded me I wasn't invisible," she said. And that's when it truly sank in. We never really know what someone is carrying. A smile, a conversation, a small gesture, it might be the only light in their day. I still think about that morning by the gate. About her frail hand holding that envelope. About the way her voice trembled when she told me not to look back. I didn't look back that day. But I carry her forward every single day. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: kindness doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It doesn't need an audience. It just needs a willing heart. Maybe there's someone in your life right now, a neighbor, a coworker, a stranger, who feels unseen. Maybe you think your small gesture won't matter. It will. Hold the door. Make the call. Offer the help. Sit down beside someone who's crying and simply ask, "Are you okay?" You might be giving them the strength to keep going. And one day, when you feel alone or unsure, that kindness may find its way back to you, just like it did for me. So wherever you are today, choose kindness. Not because the world is perfect, but because it isn't. And if you ever find yourself standing at a gate, about to walk away from everything you know, remember this. Leave with love. Move forward with courage. And trust that the kindness you've planted will keep growing long after you're gone. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder that they matter. And until next time, keep spreading kindness, because you never know whose life you might change.